Coming up on this edition of Inside Bellingham, Brian Flannelly takes us on a practice fire drill with the crew of Engine 56, where smoke can be much more than a minor irritant. And if you're headed out to Lake Whatcom with your boat, there are a few new rules that help maintain the high quality of our drinking water. And we'll share the joys of childhood at one of Bellingham's finest playgrounds. All this and a giant leap more on Inside Bellingham. Hi, and welcome to Inside Bellingham. I'm Doug Waldo, and this is Bloedel Donovan Park. It's hard to imagine that this scenic area was once the site of the massive Bloedel Donovan lumber mill. Virtually all traces of the mill are gone today, except for a few seagull-adorned pilings. On hot summer days, swimmers come here to cool off. But all year long, this spot attracts Bellinghamsters looking for something as simple as a scenic view of Lake Whatcom, or as important as a safe place for kids to play. Summer's here, and we all want to get outside and play. Well, on this month's Try a Park segment, we visit Bloedel Donovan to play with some preschoolers. There's plenty for the under 5 set to explore here, along with their favorite big people. Kim Spence begins with Linda Gist, longtime teacher of the Bellingham Parks and Recreation Preschool, right here at Bloedel Donovan.
Good morning to you. Good morning to you. We're all in our places with bright, shiny faces.
Linda, thanks for meeting me here today at Bloedel Donovan. How long have you been doing this?
In July, I complete my 27th year with the city.
Wow. What is unique about the preschool program here?
The location, for one. I mean, we're located in a park. We have access to the facilities here in the park. If we need to go to the gym because of inclement weather, we're there. Play at the playground on a daily basis.
This one. Oh, you did it! Spider?
It's upstairs.
Okay, he's out of your way, and I think he'll be okay.
It's a good program. The kids seem to enjoy it, and I think if the kids are enjoying it and it's meeting the parents' need, then it's a successful program.
Yeah. What's nice about this park? What's special about Bloedel Donovan Playground?
It's large, open space. Parents have a lot of visual from different areas.
What have you liked best about being a preschool teacher for the Parks Department?
Definitely the children. Every day is a different day. I never know what to expect them to say or do. One of my preschoolers laughed and said, "Teacher Linda, thank you for quite a lovely day." They're constantly changing and growing, and they're very exciting.
What does Bloedel Donovan Park offer you and your kids?
Oh my gosh. Well, we love the lake. We love to go down and swim in the lake. We really love to come out and play on the open grass and in the sandbox that they have down below. They've got that big net, and the boys love to throw balls over that.
What do you like best about the playground here?
We really like the rock wall, climbing up the rock wall. My younger toddler, he just clambers right up it. We're impressed every time. We like the slides. They're real fast, and you can go straight down them.
What would you say your kids like most about this playground?
About this playground? The accessibility. It's just really easy to run through and to get up on. They don't have a hard time. It's not frustrating for them. And there's just so much for kids to do.
Tell me about the preschool.
The preschool program here is wonderful. And I went there when I was a kid.
You went to the same preschool?
I did.
Wow.
And Linda Gist, who's still the teacher, was my teacher when I was a kid. And I was really excited about putting my voice into this program as well. I feel like my son has really blossomed in the program.
What do you think about Bellingham Parks overall?
Oh, I love it here. I really love it here. There's just so much to do. And in the leisure guide, there's even more to do. If you get involved and you call people and you find out about the events that are going on, there's not a day that goes by that you couldn't find something to do at a Bellingham Park.
Did you know that Bellingham has over 30 playgrounds? With sunny, warm weather headed our way, why not treat yourself and the kids in your life to some outdoor fun at one or more of them? For more information about Bellingham's playgrounds, parks, and preschool, contact the Parks and Recreation Department.
Here's a tip. Law enforcement agencies nationwide are conducting click it or ticket campaigns that incorporate zero-tolerance enforcement of seatbelt laws. The state, the county, and the city of Bellingham are all participating in these campaigns to get people to buckle up. It's not only the law, it's also a smart thing to do. Traffic Sergeant David Richards of the Bellingham Police Department has more.
Currently, since May 15th, we've been involved in the statewide campaign called Click It or Ticket. What that is we are working extra hours right now as Bellingham police officers, specifically looking for people who are not wearing their lap belts and their shoulder belts. We've heard just about every kind of excuse you can hear for not wearing your lap and shoulder belt, even up to, I don't think they're very safe. The law is clear. When driving a motor vehicle on the public roadways of the state of Washington, you must wear your lap and shoulder belt at all times, passenger or driver. The law pertains to the passengers and the children in the car. We're also looking for child restraint violations. We're looking for passengers that aren't wearing their shoulder harnesses and seat belts. And the driver could be cited for somebody under the age of 16 that's not wearing their lap and shoulder belt, for not having their child properly restrained in the proper child restraint device. So we're looking for all these when we're looking at these violations. Since 1986, when we instituted our first seatbelt law, death rates in motor vehicle crashes is down 25%. If you got in your car today and you went out to drive, you don't get in your car and say, I'm going to go out and have a crash today. I think I'll wear my seatbelt. You don't know when it's going to happen. It's a crash. So put the shoulder harness on, put the seatbelt on, wear it in the proper manner. If you have a child safety restraint device and you need a child seat inspection, you can call 676-6677 and go to Officer Warren Oak's voicemail box, and he'll call you back and make an appointment for you. Give yourself a fighting chance.
If you'd like more information about the Bellingham Police Department, check out www.cob.org/police. City officials are simply delighted that Bellingham voters approved funding for Greenways. Now, Greenways is a citizen-inspired property tax that pays for parks, trails, and open spaces throughout Bellingham. Mayor Mark Osmundson says this is a great example of what Bellingham residents can accomplish if we all work together.
The people of Bellingham have an opportunity to celebrate once again with the passage of our Greenways III levy. Over the last 20 years, the voters have 3 times voted to tax themselves in order to build parks, to buy open space, to expand our parks and our park facilities. I'm Mayor Mark Osmundson, and I am so proud to be your mayor and mayor of a community that cares not just about what we get to enjoy today, but what future generations will enjoy. That Bellingham will be as livable 50 years from now as it is today. We'll be working really closely with all of the neighborhoods to make sure that the vision and intentions of our people are realized as we make the investment of the Greenways III funds. We've done wonderfully in recent years, building great facilities for all of our family members to enjoy. We'll keep doing that by working together. Bellingham's a great community. It'll keep getting better, and I'm proud to be your mayor.
find out more about Greenways, visit the city's website at www.cob.org/parks. Wow, this is really beautiful, even on a cloudy day. You know, fighting fires is much different today than it used to be just a few years ago. Improving technique, equipment, and training for Bellingham firefighters is an ongoing process. Brian Flannelly shows us how a modern engine crew and equipment are deployed to protect our property and our lives.
Have you ever wondered how the crew of an engine company actually fights a house fire? What sort of things do they look for? What are each one of the crew members doing on the fire ground? Most importantly, what decisions are being made and constantly reevaluated during the course of a fire? Today, let's join the crew of an engine company as they go out to fight a simulated house fire. The only information we've been given is that smoke has been seen coming from a house. As the first arriving engine, our job is to evaluate the scene, put together an attack plan for the units arriving behind us, and take the first steps in carrying out that plan.
Prospect Engine 56 on scene. We have a single-family wood frame residential structure. We have heavy smoke and flame showing out of the front door. We're going to take a pre-connect line.
This message gives the rest of the incoming units a brief idea of the situation and what the first engine will be doing.
56 will be Henry Street Command.
The second arriving engine will serve as the safety backup crew outside the house. With few exceptions, state law requires us to remain outside a building until a safety crew is in place. The third engine will locate the nearest water hydrant and hook up the water supply for the engine. State law also requires that one person be in charge. The first-in-company officer will serve as the incident commander until the battalion chief arrives. The captain, driver, and pipeman all have specific responsibilities when they arrive. The captain is required to walk around the structure, looking for the source of the fire, anyone who may be rescued from a window, or any special hazards, such as a roof on the verge of collapsing, or a basement that could fall in underneath us. The driver prepares the engine to send water through the attack line that the captain has chosen. Each engine carries 500 gallons of water on board, which is enough for the first few minutes of a fire. The pipeman puts on his SCBA and pulls the 200-foot attack line to the front door.
Hey, I just got home. My wife and my daughter in there.
This new information means that we're allowed to make an immediate attack without having to wait for a safety backup crew. Our primary concern is finding the occupants as quickly as possible. Because of the thick smoke, we lose visibility once we're inside the front door and have to search every room by touch. When children are frightened, they've been known to hide in unusual places, so our search has to be very complete. Now, let's look at this crew with the thermal imaging camera. This crew is having to search the old-fashioned way.
Okay, we got a victim.
Regardless of how we search a house, we still have to drag the fire hose with us because we never know when flames are going to roll over our heads. The hose also provides a way for crew members to stay together since it is very difficult to communicate through a mask.
Command, Engine 56. We found one victim. We're bringing him out the door. We came in with the hose line. Have EMS meet us at the door.
Here's where the hose helps provide the route outside. The fire team now has to go back inside to search for the second patient, this time with the use of one of our new mini thermal imaging cameras. When these devices are available, they make searching for patients much easier and faster. Now the patient is found quickly, which greatly increases their chance of survival. These new cameras are gradually being added to our fire engines as we can afford them. So we hope we've given you a better idea of some of the challenges an engine crew faces when they deal with a house fire. It's not the Hollywood image of clear vision, big bright flames, and happy endings. Our reality is a little different. We crawl through smoke, trying to find you and your family members and get them out as quickly as we can. So how do you help us to do that? Number one, have a working smoke detector. Second, make sure everyone exits the house. Third, when the engine crew arrives, Go up to them, make sure you tell them if everyone is okay. After all, your safety is our business. And it helps to have one of these.
If you'd like more information about the Bellingham Fire Department, check out www.cob.org/fire. A regular feature here on Inside Bellingham is our On the Job segment with stories about city employees. This month, we'd like to introduce you to James Luce, who is an arborist with the city's Parks and Recreation Department. James tells us what an arborist is and why we need one on the city staff.
Claire?
Claire.
An arborist is a profession where we take care of trees, and different than forestry, which is oriented towards harvest the trees for products. An arborist is more usually concerned with trees in the urban environment and tree health, managing trees around people and around activities that people do. I'm tying the throw line onto the climbing line to pull it up into the tree. Whether an arborist can be a consulting arborist or a climbing arborist, one of the great things about my position with the city is I'm both. I consult and I also do technical tree work, which involves climbing. The Elizabeth Park's got a real legacy of trees that were brought in as ornamental hardwoods. We've got planting of elms that I don't know if there's anything in the city that matches it, and our elms are in pretty good shape. There's quite a few varieties. Some European beeches, which are really beautiful trees, some big oaks, some large ash trees, and a variety of smaller interesting trees like the cornelian cherry and some of the different dogwoods that you don't see everywhere as well. The tree unit for the Bellingham Parks consists of myself and my partner, Dan Thomas, and we work as closely as a team every day doing our work. And we rely on each other for our safety and also to help each other make different observations about the sites and to remember things that are going on. You can kind of break it down into about three main areas where there's trees that you'll find us working. One is the developed parks, which most people think of when they think of parks, something like Elizabeth or parts of Whatcom Falls, Fairhaven Park. The other is the city right-of-ways, for example, all the downtown trees, the arterials, and we take care of all those trees. And the other place where we spend a lot of time is in the open spaces. And open spaces basically are more or less undeveloped park areas, and we spend a lot of our time dealing with tree concerns in those areas.
All clear?
Clear.
It's really great to me to have everybody be your customer, whether they're rich or poor, and that's a great thing about working in parks. And on top of that, I get to work with trees, and I love trees, and some of my earliest memories as a kid are playing in trees and how much I've liked them, and I got into trees specifically because I really love working with them. Trees mean a lot to a lot of people. Trees get to be an emotionally charged issue, and I think that's one of the reasons I like to be involved with them. They give us a sense of community. They do so much just for the aesthetics of the place. I think one exercise that we do sometimes is you close your eyes. Now picture what you were just looking at with no trees. It's just kind of shocking. Well, we're lucky enough in Bellingham to have some champion trees. And champion trees are the largest tree of that species that are in the state, or a national champion would be the largest one of that species that's known of in the United States. In Elizabeth Park, one of the more notable ones is the silver maple right behind us here. That is thought to be the largest one in the state. I find working with trees and being the park arborist rewarding on a lot of levels. The connection you have with nature and at the same time with community. It's pretty special. I don't know I could find that mix anywhere else.
Thinking about getting that boat ready for summer fun? Well, if you ply the waters of Lake Whatcom, you better make sure you know about new regulations designed to protect our drinking water from pollution.
Behind me is Lake Whatcom, our drinking water supply for 85,000 people in the county. The City of Bellingham, along with Whatcom County and the Lake Whatcom Water and Sewer District, have been working together for several years to protect this valuable resource for our drinking water supply. One of the most recent actions taken is to eliminate carbureted two-stroke boat engines from this part of the lake. Effective January 2006, carbureted two-stroke engines that are greater than 10 horsepower are banned from the portion of the lake inside the city limits. If you could imagine walking out to the end of the dock and dumping a gallon of gasoline into the lake, you'd be appalled to see someone do that. Yet that's exactly what happens when someone drives a carbureted two-stroke engine, either a jet ski or an outboard motor, on this lake and burns 4 gallons of gasoline. We certainly don't want people to dump gasoline straight into our drinking water, and we also don't want people to do that even when it goes through an engine and they're having fun. There are certainly a number of other kinds of engines out there.
What this means to boaters is you need to know whether or not you have a carbureted two-stroke engine, and if you're unsure, let's ask a boating professional.
An older two-stroke, or what we consider in the industry a simple two-stroke, uses a very simple induction system. During the rotation of the piston and the crankshaft, there is a suction created which draws fuel through the carburetor into the inside of the motor, readied for the next stroke of the piston. As the piston goes through its cycle, it creates a pressure inside the engine which pushes the fuel from the intake side through the cylinder, primes the engine, and then exit through the exhaust. The problem that we run into with a simple two-stroke engine is that during the process where the fuel is brought in and enters into the cylinder, because of the ports or windows on both sides of the cylinder, as the fuel enters the cylinder and primes the engine, a portion of that fuel is allowed to escape out of the exhaust port. This is what is called unburnt hydrocarbons, and this is where the detriment falls to the older simple two-stroke design. Mainly the advent of computers onto the motors, we have seen these numbers of 25 to 30% of fuel that is expelled drop dramatically. And now in the new times where we are dealing with what's considered a DFI motor, we are seeing two-stroke engines that are running basically 100% clean.
Another issue is dirty bilge water. The bilge is the lowest part of the boat where the water and the fuel and the oil and hydraulic fluid gathers. And we need to be really careful that we don't get any of this into the drinking water. So you need to be careful if you have an automatic bilge pump to put it on manual override so that you can't have an accidental spill into our precious drinking water.
We also recommend that this type of item be used in bilges, which is a oil absorber sock, and this can easily be placed into the bilge after any types of service, so that any type of oils that leak into the bilge from the engine will be collected in the sock and then can easily be taken out when the sock is completely saturated and disposed of properly.
We ask for your help, your compliance, and your understanding as we move forward to protect our valuable drinking water supply. One of the important parts about this is not only meeting drinking water standards and protecting things now, but we have a stewardship responsibility to protect this lake, to keep it healthy and to keep it safe and strong for future generations, for our children and our grandchildren who aren't even born yet, to make sure that we're doing the right things for the environment and the right things for our community.
On every Inside Bellingham, we pose viewers' questions to the people in the city who can best answer them. Our question for this month is, do I need a business registration for my new company in Bellingham? The person we turned to for the answer was Stuart Rice from the city's finance department.
Any business that conducts business in Bellingham is required to have a registration. and it's really very easy to get. All you need to do is give us a completed application form and a $40 registration fee. And to get the application, you can either come into the finance department at City Hall, you can give us a call and we'd be happy to mail one to you, or you can get the form off our website. It's pretty straightforward. It's just a one-page form. It just asks for basic information such as the name and address of the business, the name of the owners, and that sort of thing. In fact, recently we had just printed this brochure, and if you would like to request this, give us a call or stop by and pick one up. This will give you a little more in-depth information on the subject. Generally speaking, if it's a pretty straightforward question, the people at the front counter are more than happy to help you, but if it's a little more in-depth, you'll normally end up talking to me.
What address are you going to pay for this?
There are certain cities in Washington that have what is known as a business and occupation tax. And that's a tax based on your gross revenues. It's actually a very small tax in the case of Bellingham. It's actually in the hundredths of a percentile. But the purpose of the registration is that you are required to remit this tax. You will get a tax return either annually or quarterly. And if your gross is below a certain level, you don't actually even owe tax. I would like to remind people that the city tax is separate from any taxes that the state or federal government may collect. So you want to remember that just because you filed your state tax return, you still need to file your city return separately.
You can get more information about business registration from the Finance Department's website at www.cob.org/finance. And if you have a question about city services or policies that we can answer here on Inside Bellingham, email us at btv10@cob.org. This edition of Inside Bellingham will air several times each week. You can find out when by checking the BTV10 schedule on our website or looking in Saturday's Bellingham Herald newspaper. If you have feedback or ideas, we'd like to hear from you. You can reach us through our website or directly via email. Summer's coming. Summer is coming. Get outside and enjoy one of the nation's best communities. That's right here in beautiful Bellingham. I'm Doug Waldo. For all of us here at the City of Bellingham, thanks for watching.